Welcome to the study circle. We'll just stay with this chant for another minute and then we'll thank you. Good morning and good evening again. And yeah, before we begin, just invoking Mother and Sri Aurobindo's presence and grace so that we can truly grasp what they were trying to tell us. It could be different things for each of us, because for our journeys, individual journeys, we might need different things at this point. Welcome, Sham. Yeah, so I remember we did seeking to know. We finished this paragraph I was just seeing, but I don't know if we did this when one wants to understand the deep laws of life. So maybe we can take an overlap because the above passage I'm sure we finished. Yeah, if anybody is willing, they can unmute and read. Otherwise, I'll read.
Yeah, from when one wants
Yes,
to
please.
understand.
Yes. Yeah, thank you.
Okay. When one understands the deep laws of life, wants to be ready to receive whatever message is sent by the divine, if one wants to be able to penetrate the secrets of the manifestation, everything, no matter what, the least little circumstance in life becomes a teacher who can teach you something, teach you how to think and act. Even the reflections of an ignorant child can help you to understand something you didn't understand before. Your attitude is so different. It is always an attitude which is awaiting a discovery, an opportunity for progress, a rectification of a wrong movement, a step ahead, and so it is like a magnet that attracts from all around your opportunities to make this progress. The least thing can teach you how to progress. As you have the consciousness and will to progress, everything becomes an opportunity and you project consciousness and will to progress upon all things. And not only is this useful for you, but it is useful for all those around you with whom you have a contact. The mother.
Thank you. So, any recollection if we did that, or we can just take it up again? Vasu, Jagan, Deepa. I don't think we did it.
I don't think we've gone through this part, ma'am.
Yeah, okay, perfect. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll second Jagan too. I don't think we did this.
Okay, thank you. So we start. So when one wants to understand the deep laws of life, wants to be ready to receive whatever message is sent by the divine, if one wants to be able to penetrate the secrets of the manifestation, everything, no matter what, the least little circumstance in life becomes a teacher who can teach you something, teach you how to think and act. Yeah, and I don't think there would be anybody here who would disagree. I mean, it's spooky that, like, I don't know, it's been more than 2 years since when I started the Harmony Circle, and every week, whatever topic I used to take, it used to happen more before, it happened less now. Circumstances would present that way that my interaction, my falling in that situation is so much more that I can understand the topic, just more clearly. Like practically, I will be thrown in it that I'll have to use it. And I can't tell you how many times when I've taken a topic, there are, others who have said that, oh my God, this was exactly what I was facing or doing. So it's like, how we have discussed this before that, जैसे हिंदी मूवी का वो डायलॉग था ना कि अगर कुछ ठान लिया है तो सारी कायनात gets together to help you with that. It's such a beautiful, I don't know, recognition, knowing that this is how it works. I'm sure, I think there would be reflections on this, any sharings, personal experiences, if any, we can take that to solidify this knowing. So if one is ready, it says. So all it needs is wants to be ready to receive. Yeah. Okay, so no reflections. So, yeah, Ritu, if you, and I'm sure you would remember, you had shared with me recently that audio from Akhand Anandji, where he spoke about who was that mystic who had so many gurus, and he had said that I learned this from him and this from him. I keep forgetting his name.
Yeah, Dattatreya.
Yeah, can you just share a little bit on him? Whatever you remember, if you wish to.
Yes, yes. So, there was a saint, Dattatreya, and he was just, sitting on the roadside, and a king passed from there. So everybody used to get up to greet the king, but then Dattatreya was so engrossed in his own self that he didn't pay any heed, he didn't bother. So the king went up to him and he saw that there was something different about him. So he went up to him and he asked him as to who you are, what do you do? So he said that who's your guru? That how do you look so relaxed and peaceful? So who's your guru? So Dattatreya said that everything around me is my guru. Whatever I see teaches me something. So he gave him so many examples So the first example he gave him was of a woman who was a sex worker. So he said that she is my guru because this is what I learned from her. Then he gave the example of a child, the wind, the trees, the water. So each and everything, I don't remember particularly what it taught him. Like he said that the earth is my guru because the earth is so forgiveful. Whatever we do, like we spit on it, we dig it, whatever we do, it still forgives us and it welcomes us and loves us. So similarly, he gave the example for so many things that each and everything which he sees in his daily life, he looks at it closely and it teaches him something.
Yes, thank you. And you had also mentioned that what you resonated with was that, your body also, right? Like,
Yeah. Yeah, he said that the body, takes in whatever it is useful for it and gives out and just, um, I mean, it lets go of whatever is not necessary, like the dead cells. It keeps giving them out because if it keeps the dead cells in it, then they start turning into diseases. So he said, this is something I learned from the body that whatever you don't need, you just let go.
your background is so distractive. Such beautiful sounds of bird chirping is coming that it's hard to concentrate on your voice. Yeah. Okay. So I've
I
actually,
was actually.
yeah,
Well,
I'm sorry to interrupt you, ma'am.
no issues, Jagan, please.
Yeah. No, I was actually saying, I'm going to say the same thing that the koel is so beautiful. Even when Ritu ma'am was reading the first line, I could not really hear because I was just listening to those birds in the background.
Yeah. Yeah, Sham, you were also saying something?
yeah, is there any book or any video or anything of that sort which can be shared?
Yeah, tada! While Ritu was sharing, I pulled up the video that we could hear about Dattatreya.
Okay, okay. And can you please
I'll
share it on the group too?
yeah, I'll definitely. So there's a series called Upanishad Ganga. So in that we had seen it. Ritu, I'm sure you would have seen it too. So I'll share
Yeah.
the part where somebody, I don't know, maybe this is the king you were talking about. I don't remember. So and the one sitting, I am hoping you can see the screen. Is that
Yeah.
okay? Yeah,
Right.
yeah. So I'll share it. If you can't hear it, let me know.
भगवान मैं भी उस अविनाशी और अक्षर को जानना चाहता हूँ पर मैं किस गुरु की शरण में जाऊं जो मेरा उस अक्षर और अविनाशी से साक्षात्कार करा सके।
गुरु ढूंढ रहा है तो सुन, यह संसार ही गुरु है। मेरे तो 24 गुरु हैं।
24 गुरु?
यदु यह धरती सभी को धारण करती है, सभी को समान रूप से आधार देती है। सभी को समान रूप से स्वीकार करो, यह मैंने धरती से सीखा। वायु मेरी दूसरी गुरु है। वायु से मैंने जाना कि साधक को वायु की तरह अच्छे और बुरे से अप्रभावित रहना चाहिए। आकाश मेरे तीसरे गुरु हैं। आकाश से मैंने जाना कि आत्मा आकाश की तरह सर्वव्यापी है, सबसे अप्रभावित, निराकार निर्विकार अपनी उसी अवस्था में रहता है। मेरी चौथी गुरु है आग। आग हर आहार ग्रहण करती है, हर समिधा ग्रहण करती है और उसे भस्म कर पवित्र कर देती है। आग से मैंने जाना कि ब्रह्म चिंतक को अग्नि की तरह ही आहार ग्रहण करना चाहिए। सूर्य मेरा पांचवा गुरु है। जिस प्रकार सूर्य की छाया अलग अलग पात्रों के जल में अलग अलग दिखाई देती है, उसी प्रकार यह सारी सृष्टि उसी एक आत्मा की विभिन्न छायाएं हैं। मेरा छठा गुरु कबूतर है। एक बार मैंने देखा शिकारी के बिछाए जाल में कबूतरों के बच्चे फंस गए हैं। कुछ देर बाद उन्हें छुड़ाने के लिए घोंसले में लौटी उनकी माँ भी जाल में फंस गई। उन कबूतरों से मैंने जाना कि किस प्रकार मोह विनाश को आमंत्रण देता है। अजगर मेरा 7वां गुरु है यदु। जिस प्रकार अजगर अपने शिकार की तलाश में यहां वहां नहीं भटकता, वैसे ही ज्ञान की अभिलाषा रखने वाले को सुख के पीछे यहां वहां नहीं भटकना चाहिए। समुद्र मेरा 8वां गुरु है। जिस प्रकार समुद्र अपनी मर्यादा का उल्लंघन नहीं करता, वैसे ही बुद्धिमान को अपनी नैतिक मर्यादा का उल्लंघन नहीं करना चाहिए। मेरा 9वां गुरु पतंगा है। पतंगा मूर्ख व्यक्ति इंद्रियों के सुखों की आग में कूद स्वयं को भस्म कर देता है, परंतु बुद्धिमान व्यक्ति ज्ञान की अग्नि में कूद अपने अज्ञान का नाश कर सीमित से असीमित हो जाते हैं। मेरा 10वां गुरु है गज। कौन? हाथी। हाँ? हाथी के शिकारी हाथी को पकड़ने के लिए नकली हथनी बनाते हैं या पालतू हथनी का प्रयोग करते हैं ताकि वे हाथी को लुभा सकें। साधक को काम के आवेग से दूर रहना चाहिए, यह मैंने हाथी से सीखा। मेरा 11वां गुरु शहद इकट्ठा करने वाला मधुहा। मधुमक्खी शहद इकट्ठा करने में अपना समय गंवाती है और उसका उपभोग शहद इकट्ठा करने वाला मधुहा करता है। इसलिए समय साधनों को एकत्र करने में नहीं, स्वयं को समझने में खर्च करना चाहिए। मछली मेरी 12वीं गुरु है यदु। इस प्रकार कांटे में लगे पदार्थ के कारण मछली कांटे में फंस जाती है, वैसे ही मनुष्य प्रलोभनों के कारण संकट में पड़ता है। मेरी 13वीं गुरु है गणिका पिंगला।
वही पिंगला जिसने अपने विवेक और वैराग्य से आचार्य स्थूलीभद्र को भी नींद से जगाया।
मेरा 14वां गुरु है एक तीर बनाने वाला। उससे मैंने जाना कि आत्मा पर एकाग्रता से ही संसार के प्रपंच को अनदेखा किया जा सकता है। मेरा 15वां गुरु छोटे बच्चे हैं यदु। छोटे छोटे बच्चे जो मान अपमान, मेरा तेरा, अपना पराया, इन सब से परे रहते हैं। मेरा 16वां गुरु चंद्रमा है। जिस प्रकार चंद्रमा सूर्य के प्रकाश को ही परावर्तित करता है, उसी प्रकार यह जीवात्मा उसी एक परमात्मा का ही प्रकाश है। मधुमक्खी मेरी 17वीं गुरु है। जैसे मधुमक्खी फूलों को नुकसान पहुंचाए बिना शहद एकत्र करती है, वैसे ही आध्यात्म के पथिक को अनेक शास्त्रों से ज्ञान का रस एकत्र करना चाहिए। मेरा 18वां गुरु मृग है। उससे मैंने जाना कि इंद्रियों की कामना दास्ता का कारण होती है। बाज मेरा 19वां गुरु है। जिस प्रकार मांस के एक टुकड़े के लिए कई शिकारी पक्षी एक साथ मांस पर टूट पड़ते हैं और परस्पर लड़ते हैं, ठीक वैसे ही भौतिक सुखों की होड़ संघर्ष आमंत्रित करती है। मेरी 20वीं गुरु एक कन्या है यदु। एक बार कुछ लोग एक कन्या का हाथ मांगने उसके घर आए। उस समय उस कन्या के माता पिता घर पे नहीं थे, तो अतिथियों को आया देख उस कन्या ने भोजन के लिए धान कूटना शुरू कर दिया। अब धान कूटते समय उस कन्या के हाथ में पड़ी चूड़ियां बजने लगी। चूड़ियों के खनकने की ध्वनि से अतिथियों को परेशानी न हो, इसलिए उसने दोनों हाथों में एक एक चूड़ी रख बाकी चूड़ियां उतार दी। इस घटना से मैंने जाना कि दूसरे के होने से स्वर, शब्द खटकने लगते हैं, बजने लगते हैं। इसलिए साधक को अकेले रहना चाहिए। सर्प मेरा 21वां गुरु है यदु। सर्प घर नहीं बनाता, वैसे ही अध्यात्म के पथिक को अनिकेत रहना चाहिए। मकड़ी मेरी 22वीं गुरु है, हैं? जैसे मकड़ी अपने जाल की रचना करती है, उसमें विचरण करती है और अंत में उसे ही निगल लेती है, वैसे ही आत्मा अपने संसार की रचना करता है, उसमें विचरण करता है और अंत में यह संसार उसी में विलीन हो जाता है। यदु इल्ली मेरी 23वीं गुरु है। इल्ली लगातार भ्रमर की ओर देखती रहती है। यह निरंतर भ्रमर की ओर ध्यान इल्ली को भ्रमर में परिवर्तित कर देता है। गुरु और शिष्य की चेतना का यह संबंध मेरा 23वां गुरु है। मेरा 24वां गुरु जल है। जल सबकी प्यास बुझाता है। मनुष्य, पशु पक्षी, पेड़ पौधे सभी को जीवित रखता है और हमेशा सबसे निचली जगह पर रहता है, हैं? वैसे ही बुद्धिमान को भी हमेशा सबसे नगण्य स्थान ग्रहण करना चाहिए।
Yeah. I don't know if it was too long, but I'll share the link in case you want to watch it again. Yeah. If there's any, I don't know, reflection, feel free to unmute and share at any time. So just, the reason we talked about him was that if one is willing to learn, if one wants to know anything and everything, it doesn't have to be anything very big. The smallest thing can teach them and will teach them. That's what it said right now. The least little circumstance becomes a teacher who can teach you something, teach you how to think and act. So just like, Dattatreya shared, it says even the reflections of an ignorant child can help you to understand something you didn't understand before. Your attitude is so different. It is always an attitude which is awaiting a discovery, an opportunity for progress, a rectification of a wrong movement, a step ahead. And so it is like a magnet that attracts from all around you opportunities to make this progress. There's a quote which says that the master appears as soon as the disciple is ready. It's as if just waiting, that just ask for it and it will be given. And lots of quotes again solidify that yeah. So it is always an attitude which is awaiting a discovery. I mean, if I am awaiting a discovery, an opportunity for progress, a rectification of a wrong movement, a step ahead, like a magnet that attracts from all around you opportunities to make this progress. But usually I just take things personally, right? We know that मुझे कैसे बोल दिया, ये तो नहीं बोलना चाहिए था, ये मेरे साथ क्या हो रहा है, या मेरे साथ क्या हुआ. So although things could be really big, they could appear to be really big, but then they don't help me. They don't let me go anywhere. So a lot of times resolutions don't work. If I'm looking for an opportunity for progress, I have to push things aside. And we were discussing the same thing in yesterday's session, that how we have to push aside certain things and just move ahead, because there's no end to resolving things. Yeah. Okay, I'll go ahead. So the least things can teach you how to progress. As you have the consciousness and will to progress, everything becomes an opportunity, and you project this consciousness and will to progress upon all things. And not only is this useful for you, but it is useful for all those around you with whom you have a contact. Now, I think again, this too is quite important, because lots and lots of time, a lot of us have this aspiration to help people. And usually, how do we help? We advise, right? We see somebody doing something wrong, which we think is wrong, and we tell them this is not right, you should do it this way. More than half of the time, I should say all the time, but I'll just be polite, nobody's interested. Unless somebody comes to you seeking for something, they say it's better not to advise, and yet we all do that. But here it is said that, if you have to help, then just make that change, right? Make yourself useful by being that agent of change, by changing your, I don't know, movements and things from lower to higher every time. Like, be that force of change, and you change and the world change. Again, numerous quotes from so many masters, mystic, that focus on yourself. And I think again, there's very famous one, that the only thing you can do for me is work on yourself, and the only thing I can do for you is work on myself. Like, again, loads of such quotes are there on the net. Yeah. Yeah, anything? This was again wanting to know. It covers under wanting to know, seeking to know. Sorry. Okay, so if there is nothing, because I think it is a very simple thing, but if we feel that not much progress is happening, if we feel that, maybe we need to look at our attitude and see if we can further be more receptive, rather than going into a guilt consciousness, a victim consciousness. If we can try and, I'm sorry, I'm just repeating myself, see what is there and why is it visiting me? What is it trying to teach me? Yeah, so this is over. So we will go to the next one unless there is any reflection or comments. And the topic is listening to the inner law. We all know about the outer law. We know more than we need to know. And this inner law is most interesting. So excited to cover this topic. If anybody is willing to read, you can please unmute, or if there's any sharing, you can, otherwise. Yeah. So I'll go. Listening to the inner law. The inner law, the truth of the being, is the divine presence in every human being, which should be the master and guide of our life. Again, we know it by different names, but the inner law, the truth of the being, is the divine presence, that light in me of the divine. Here in integral yoga, it's known as a psychic being, which should be the master, but is often not. Should be the guide, but is often not in our life. So it makes the law, and yet there are outer laws which we are following, scared of. Yeah, so moving on. When you acquire the habit of listening to this inner law, when you obey it, follow it, try more and more to let it guide your life, you create around you an atmosphere of truth and peace and harmony, which naturally reacts upon circumstances and forms, so to say, the atmosphere in which you live. So, when you acquire the habit of listening to this inner law, what do I usually listen to? The conditionings, the voices around me, the do's and don'ts of the society. And here it's saying when you acquire the habit of listening to this inner law, the inner calling, the inner voice, when you obey it, follow it, try more and more to let it guide your life, you create around you an atmosphere of truth and peace and harmony, which naturally reacts upon circumstances and forms, so to say, the atmosphere in which you live. So, the more I am bowed down, the more I am following my inner voice, the more truth, peace, and light I will attract, harmony. And these are the things, harmony, truth, peace, that we lack in our life, that we want more in our life. So that means, we are very intelligent people. If this is one thing which attracts these things, and if I say that I want more of that in my life, so that means this is a proof that I am not listening to the inner voice enough. Too many sounds, too many voices, too many noises are around us, inside and outside. So we don't listen. And yet, when we have listened, and I'm sure we all have, especially, in matters of the heart, which could be plain vital, but we go against a lot of, reasoning and logics, and we feel we lived those moments truly. Now, Rumi says that there's a voice that doesn't use words, listen. And every time anything happens, the smallest of decision, there is a small voice telling you something. But we always, we being so clever, use our reasonings, logics. We choose what is more beneficial, more lucrative, more financially feasible. And we mostly tread on our own voice and move ahead. Yeah, any confessions, reflections at this point?
Yeah, Taru, how do we get rid of all these default attitudes? And even if we get rid of only for a very short span of time.
Yeah, Sham, I don't know how to get rid of, how do you get rid of one thing? By probably not listening to it, right? That is the only thing I can think of. So if there are 5 voices, 4 of them usually are shouting or screaming or loud. And there's one which is usually very, soft. And for me, and we share this often in our session, when there's something I need to do, when I think about it, if I'm feeling expanded inside, I know this is something that, my inner being is okay with. And when I feel a bit of shrinking, if I feel that, nahi, there's something in me which is saying, ki, nahi, no, I don't want to. That I know I try not to do that, even if it's most logical. Even if, the society calls for it, it's like it's supposed to be very ethical and moral, even. I have oftentimes followed the voice and I've seen how it has helped me. So, anything, any muscle you want to strengthen, you just have to follow, right? You just have to practice. That's the only thing I can think of. Welcoming more reflections. Yeah, I don't think anybody is really wanting to talk today. Yeah. Risham, does that make sense? Should we reflect more on it?
Yeah, largely you have answered my question.
Hmm. At least reasons की कोई end नहीं है ना? मतलब there's no end to logics and reasoning, and yet we keep. It sounds, to use this word, it sounds brutal, but I would use it because that's what I feel I do. It's brutal. We are brutal to ourselves most of the time. We follow the dictates of the society and we end up really going against what we feel we should be going towards for smallest and biggest things in our lives, a lot. And that is why I feel, because here it's said, like so many, again, masters and mystics have said, mother has said it so many times, that there's a purpose of why you are created, why you have taken your birth. But you don't follow your call. You keep just following the dictates, and no wonder one feels incomplete and lacking. And what is this life all about? So many examples, real time examples of near death experience point towards that. A lot of people I've read that, when they have an NDE, they were reconnected that, oh, you were born for this. Oh, you went to earth for that. What are you doing? And then when they come back, I mean, the things that I've heard are amazing, that somebody discovered this, created this, organic this, and stuff, like really really different things, but they couldn't ignore it any longer. Deepa, you had also, I know you said you were interested in reading about a lot of NDEs. Did you come across that at all?
Yeah, and overall, I felt like everybody had quite common things that they went through while talking about their NDE, for example, about light or about beings who came to take them, and some felt the presence of close departed ones. So there was generally a very common theme that ran through, though experiences are a little varied, which made me think as though these things do happen and exist.
Yeah, but did you also come across some experiences which said that they were able to find a purpose in life? And did you come across that or not really?
So that also was very varied.
Okay.
For some, it was a very negative experience, but they were a very small minority. For most of them, it was a very life-changing experience. I think the biggest thing that everybody realized was that how each one of us is connected to one another. That was the underlying feeling that they felt. I think because in our lives where we live, we feel so insulated, right? We feel that this is my life, this is my struggle, this is my pain, and this is my happiness. But when they underwent NDE, they suddenly realized that we all have a common theme, we all have a common connection, and how each one of us, one's happiness or sadness affects the other and the whole world or the whole universe. And I think just the broader perspective is that comes through. And I think most of them then want to spread this message. Most of them wanted humanity to know what is our ultimate purpose, the connection, and how we grow and get connected to the divine.
Thank you.
Yeah, Taru, I have a question. So did Andy changed you a lot before the earlier version of Taru and the present version? I'm sorry to have asked it like this. Sorry.
No, not sorry at all. It's a very valid question. But yeah, I think it has. And I think more than anything, there is this element of a little bit of stillness in the being. Like how earlier on it used to just rush towards everything. And now there is, yeah, I mean, and I think that one thing changes a lot of things. Like the stakes of everything are less. You know how one feels कि ये हो जाएगा तो फिर ये हो जाएगा, like oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. So that thing, that less drama. No drama तो possible नहीं है, but less drama. I feel that's what I would say, that yes, it definitely. But again, it's really easy to forget and go back as if nothing happened. It's very easy to fall through slippery slopes and maybe just pretend that maybe it was just a hallucination or a dream, and one has to constantly rewind oneself that nahi, matlab iske liye to nahi aaye hain, matlab there has to be more, keep going, keep going, keep going. So that effort is still there. Otherwise, the laziness or just the way the things grab you, it still is standing there all the time कि छोड़ो क्या करना है types ना. So one has to keep kind of motivating and remembering that you have come back and you need to just up your game a little bit more and find more meaning, give more meaning in life. Yeah, I think I would say that. So we'll take this forward. When you are a being of justice, truth, harmony, compassion, understanding, of perfect goodwill, this inner attitude, the more sincere and total it is, the more it reacts upon the external circumstances. How beautiful it is, right? That we always look at the external circumstance, and we have covered this in the attitude section. And we, laugh or cry or dance or, yeah, whatever, whenever, depending on the situation, the circumstance we are in. We need festivals and weddings and celebrations to feel that happiness, because on a daily basis, we are not feeling that. And yet, what is it saying here? When I am a being of justice, truth, harmony, compassion, understanding, of perfect goodwill. This inner attitude, the more sincere and total it is, the more it reacts upon the external circumstances. And usually, what is it? What do I go towards? What is my guiding principle in this life? I mean, I would say it's usually, what am I getting out of it? फायदा किस में है? Sense किस में है? What makes the most, what is most useful? What will help me 20 years down the lane? Materially is what usually most of us are guided by. And yet, if I don't want to be controlled by the external, but I want to impact my external circumstance, I have to invite, I have to live more justice, more truth, more harmony, more compassion, understanding, goodwill, and this inner attitude, when we are sincere and we are doing it, then we control, then we affect the external circumstance. It's amazing that this is my possibility too. So, not that it necessarily diminishes the difficulties of life, but it gives these difficulties a new meaning, and that allows you to face them with a new strength and a new wisdom. I think this is an extremely important point, because somewhere we very falsely believe. I've heard so many times people saying कि अरे इतना अच्छा इंसान है और उसके साथ ये हो रहा है. But the things people say, it's amazing. I think I'd shared this, and I don't know, it was very weird. I cannot forget it. Like, when my brother had passed on, there were people who actually took other people's name and said कि अरे भगवान को उठाना ही था तो उसको उठा लेते, वो कितना खराब है. Why did he choose him, who was so generous and sweet and loving? So, I mean, this is the extent that we can go to, that say that if God had to end a life, it could have been the life of X, Y, and Z. So imagine where all the mind goes. So, not that it necessarily diminishes the difficulties of life, but it gives these difficulties a new meaning, and that allows you to face them with a new strength and a new wisdom. From why is it happening to me? I again repeating myself, we go to what is it trying to teach me? And rather they say that the more you feel, God feels you are capable, the more challenges you are given so that you can transcend them. There's this thing, right? Like God, every animal can pull the weight of their own tail, right? So God doesn't give anybody something that they cannot carry. So when your capability, your strength increases, the weight of your tail can increase too, so that oh, I can do this too, I can transcend this too. Otherwise, what is the purpose of this birth? Not comfort, not the worldly engagements that we are mostly occupied with, but progress, 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 progress. Each and every religion, spiritual thing, mostly according to me, have said that. Evolution, the progress of the soul. Moving on, whereas the man, the human being who follows his impulses, who obeys his desire, who has no time for scruples, who come to live in complete cynicism, not caring for the effect that his life has upon others or for the more or less harmful consequences of his acts, creates for himself an atmosphere of ugliness, selfishness, conflict, and bad will, which necessarily acts more and more upon his consciousness and gives, and gives a bitterness to his life that in the end becomes a perpetual torment. So in short, what we often share, something that Acharya Prashant used to say a lot, that तुम्हारी चालाकी ही तुम्हें ले डूबेगी. And I've seen this so many times, so subtly and so grossly that I can't tell you. It's again and again it flashes when I am trying to be clever, when I see the other is trying to be clever, and I've seen where that cleverness has led them. It's like, oh my God, why can't we see? So just reading this again, whereas the man, the human being who follows his impulses, who obeys his desires, who has no time for scruples, who comes to live in complete cynicism, not caring for the effect that his life has upon others or for the more or less harmful consequences of his acts, creates for himself an atmosphere of ugliness. And they are not exaggerating. It's not a Punjabi who's saying this, it's mother. So, atmosphere of ugliness, selfishness, conflict, and bad will, which necessarily acts more and more upon his consciousness and gives a bitterness to his life that in the end becomes a perpetual torment. So it was listening to the inner law. So that was very, very beautifully worded, very beauful. And I hope we all can maybe unmute and share something that we resonated with, or if this is not making sense or you disagree. Is there anything that anybody would want to share on this? Mother has spoken a lot about it, that how once you're on the path sincerely, and any path, then the regular law is not applicable to you. You follow the divine law. A lot of times, in different words, this question has been asked, that till when do you suffer? It says that till you are the doer, you suffer. Like karta hi bhogta hai. Otherwise, if you're not the doer, if you're doing things like, they are being done through me, then there is no suffering. The karmic cycle ends. It's not your action will again now give you something. It's gone. It's been offered. Yes, Ritu, please.
No, I think I unmuted by mistake.
अब तो फंस गए हो, कुछ बोलना पड़ेगा.
Yeah, but I have been thinking of asking you about, since we discussed about NDE. So you said that while you experienced it, you had the same thoughts. Like right now, I'm in this realm, in this body, and I'm having specific pattern of thoughts. And when I leave it, I still have the same thoughts. So that's what I was just wondering, that what goes with us, is it the same thoughts or it's something else?
I won't know that because mine didn't last that long. But what I saw, what lasted for me, and I think I've read it through various masters. I think even Swami Vivekananda or Yogananda Paramhansa has also said it very strongly. Nothing changes after death. It's, you go like you are. Don't think, how, एक second, I'll just try to pull this up. I find this hilarious that, एक second. Yes, I found it. I'll just share it. Yeah, but I was just saying that I find this the biggest joke of a society. And I must have shared this often that, how when somebody dies, we just say, Ram Nam Satya or rest in peace or wo pura ho gaya. I find that hilarious. Okay? Then we very nicely accept and we call our cremation places Moksha Dham and we say ke khatam kaam, now he has reached peace. But how would that work if I have not found peace while I'm alive? How? Please tell me I will find it. The death, matlab the basic vital element. So here it's Yogananda Paramahansa, I think, yeah. So if anybody wants to read it, it's a beautiful quote.
Yeah, I'll read. Don't depend on death to liberate you from your imperfections. You are exactly the same after death as you were before. Nothing changes. You only give up the body. If you are a thief or a liar or a cheater from before death, you don't become an angel merely by dying. If such were possible, then let us all go and jump in the ocean now and become angels at once. Whatever you have made of yourself thus far, so will you be hereafter. And when you reincarnate, you will bring that same nature with you. To change, you have to make the effort. This world is the place to do it. Paramhansa Yogananda.
Yeah. So, they say that Earth realm, we are born on this realm, on this planet, because this is the only planet where we can progress. But a lot of us, Ritu, you have also read that book. I think there might be more. The laws of spirit world, I think in that it talks about that, right? That how there are different realms. And earth is the realm where you are born to progress. Even Buddhism talks about that a lot. They have this beautiful, wheel of samsara. We can take it up sometimes. I think it would be great. That Sumala had a beautiful commentary on that. 12 sessions, I think we would need for that. With that, they do say it very clearly that earth is the place where progress can happen. And yet, most of us, instead of progressing, we go down, because there's so much desire, there's so much maya. We say you are on a different realm, you want to progress, you take birth on earth, you take up so much suffering, thinking that you will jump, and we end up going lower because of the greed, the desires, we get consumed and we forget why we are here. And so many, I don't know, I'm repeating this line again and again, so many places, so many masters have questioned, have asked the disciples to ask this question, okay, why were you born? Why were you born? Remember why you were born. Even Savitri, there are beautiful lines, okay, why hast thou come? Remember, recall that you did not come for that.
So when I read Realm, the laws of the spirit world, what I understood they were mentioning is that it is your choice to come back to Earth, but you basically come to evolve. And we should take this opportunity of this lifetime to do better. Um, so you could be in a lower realm and you want to climb up higher, but this is the place, Earth is the place for you to do the karmas. And we should focus on good karmas for that reason, so that we can climb into better realms or higher realms. So I think, I mean, whatever our beliefs are, one thing is clear, that we have to better ourselves over here.
Yeah. बट उसमें उतना मजा नहीं है ना जितना इंस्टेंट ग्रेटिफिकेशन एक मेरे साथ ये क्यों हो रहा है उसमें तो क्या करें. So yeah, I was able to find that line from Savitri where it says, the voice replied, remember why thou came, find out thy soul, recover thy hid self, in silence see God's meaning in thy depths, then mortal nature change to the divine. Open God's door, enter into his trance. So we can, that's very beautiful. We can go further, but this is the main one. One has to keep asking oneself, remember why thou came. Remember, thou is like here, it's referring to myself. Why did I come? Find out my soul, recover my hidden self, in silence see God's meaning in my depths, and then this mortal, this me which will die, it changes to the divine. Yeah, so beautiful. And I remember, once, I don't remember when, but I was feeling very overwhelmed and very distracted, I think, by the outer circumstances. And then, Monica had made a card and she had given me these lines. So that really shifted something inside me. I like very clearly remember that I was like shocked that, oh, I'm forgetting. Oh my God. So yeah, so Sat Sangati really, really helps in keeping us on the path. So grateful for that. Yeah. So, Vasu, you haven't unmuted. Are you like maybe you don't have the capacity to unmute today because usually you do share anything from you on anything we have read so far?
I'm actually absorbing a lot of it because so much of it resonates. Like, for example, everything around in nature is actually one of my biggest teachers and inspiration, whether it's the hardworking ant, whether it's a tree that shed its leaves and then the new ones come. So it's very symbolic. I take it so much as a part of what all this is teaching me. So I can find inspiration and teachings from anywhere, not necessarily a person. The other thing is of, how when you awaken is like, and you mentioned that when the student is ready, the teacher appears. And that's it, to just like basically just focus on being open to receiving. And again, this resonated with me. So I was just like contemplating and absorbing all that you were going through in today's teachings. And yes, I think that's pretty much like I can like just relate to everything. It's very simple, straightforward, but yet so profound, like something you can just, I think it's very difficult not to relate. At least that's what I felt. So
Yeah, beautiful. I agree. Very difficult not to relate. Yes, Deepa.
Actually, what Vasu said was just what I was thinking a few days back. Like in Canada, now you see that, the trees that you thought were dead are suddenly coming alive with, small green leaves and lovely, beautiful flowers. And suddenly the animal kingdom has become like chirpy and active. And it was such a learning lesson at that time to understand that when times are hostile, when times are bad, You don't have to, that word is there in Hindi, chatpatana zaruri nahi hai. Don't fight against the tide. Like, wait for the right opportunity to bloom. But when times are bad, just hold on. What you need is that strength to just take, absorb, and deal with it. And when the opportunity is right, your time will come. So whether it is hibernation in the animal kingdom or anything, but it was such a learning lesson as a human, because we are so reactive to hostile situations. And it is not necessary to always fight, raise your voice, and go towards a downward spiral. Just wait. That tide will change. Your time will come.
Yeah, thank you. Now, when you were sharing, there's this Khalil Gibran quote. I didn't exactly remember it, so I pulled it up. I find it very beautiful. So just sharing it out of the beauty of sharing something beautiful. So he says that if winter should say, spring is in my heart, who would believe winter? And when you live in a country where it's like winter 8 months a year and you see there's no life. And in there, if you had to remember that, but the same tree becomes, full of flowers, it's hard to believe that how does it happen? Like how, and yet it happens. Yeah. Sham, I think you had unmuted. Please share.
Yeah, Taru, but many times when we are in difficult circumstances, we tend to go out of way, no? People.
More Sham, out of way, matlab?
Means कोई हवा आती है और उस हवा में हम बंध जाते हैं and all that. We
हाँ.
are in that spiraling kind of thing.
Yeah. And we have to do a lot of that before we realize that अच्छा मैं थम भी सकता हूँ, मुझे हर हवा के झोंके या तूफान के साथ में जरूरी नहीं है कि मैं गिरूं, बट उस चीज की जो वो है स्ट्रेंथ गिर 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 के ही आती है कि बस और नहीं.
Well,
That was a nice ending, Sham, at well. Yes, all is well. Yeah. To anything? I thought you were in some resort or something. तू तो घर ही बैठी हुई है. You're on mute if you are sharing.
I came back yesterday.
Okay. Yeah, I thought you were somewhere because I have not heard so many birds from your end. Yeah. Okay. Good to know. Yeah.
So this Jetsunma, the 12 series which you were sharing, which ones are those?
There's a talk of hers. I think there are 12 or 14 videos. I think there are 12. It's called The Wheel of Sansara. It's really, really amazing if you want to understand how the different realms work. If you remember, we had taken up the hub of the wheel, the most important one, the first one in a harmony circle once. Were you there for that one?
Yeah, yeah.
You must be.
The wheel in the center, and then
Matlab aversion and attachment and ignorance. Like these are the three things that make the wheel go, right? That's the hub that's driving. And when there is equanimity, then the hub stops. The whole wheel can stop. Yeah, Shyam, you ended with a very that well. In case you want to
yeah,
share.
Taru, I have a demand actually.
Yeah.
Firstly, can you please share that 24 teachings video that Ritu talked of in the beginning of this
Yes,
meeting?
absolutely. Yeah.
And you please share that Savitri poem. Okay. And third one, you please share that 12 playlist, 12 video of playlist of Jetsunma. Yeah.
Yeah.
Homework.
Yeah. It's so easy. I just keep forgetting. In case I forget, you
Yeah,
remind.
kindly concede to these 3 demands. Okay.
Yes. Okay, Sham. Okay. Yeah. But before we end, I do want to say that there's always something that has been there with us for, some voice, some direction that we have felt since we were children that has given us, that's trying to take us in some direction. Just to share here, because, one thing that I remember very clearly, my oldest memory of me thinking, or, that thing, and I've shared this before, like there are two things that keep coming to me since I was a child. One thing is that may this birth not go waste. So पता नहीं मैंने काफी waste करे होंगे जो इतने solidity से बचपन से there is this thing कि may this birth not go waste. And the second thing is this very solid affirmation, like as if it's being told to me that one would not need to worry about, the financial aspect of things, like that is taken care of. Just let this birth not go waste. Let this birth not go waste. Like it just keeps pushing one. So sharing not to, kind of prove anything, but there is a inner voice, there is a goal, there is a direction, there is a aim. But we are so busy with our eyes outside that we don't hear what the voice is saying. So we must, if possible, connect and see what it is saying so that we can start honoring it and following it, however much is possible. So we'll end here today. Before we end, if there's any last comment, anything, we can take it up, or we can then just end. Okay. So let's end here. The beautiful, beautiful words of the Mother and Sri Aurobindo. So may these words become me. Practically, may they implement in my life and not just remain some beautiful words that I read. Inviting more progress, inviting more expansion in my life and the life of every sentient being. May our hearts be full of love, peace, joy, self-giving, compassion, harmony, goodwill. So I pray for everybody, not all pray, but I do know the significance, the magic, the miracle in a prayer. So I pray on behalf of the world, asking for more peace, more clarity, more love for all. Thank you.